All right. You are driving, you are to drive 300 kilometers to an interview. The interview is at 11:15 a.m. You plan to drive at 100 kilometers per hour. So you leave at 8 a.m. to allow for some extra time. So let's figure that out. Here's our possible graph. So you start here and you got to reach by 11:15. So let's mark that in. Can't be later than 11:15. That's going to be 11:15. Okay. So you drive at the speed for the first 100 kilometers. So you're going strong. You drive 100 kilometers for 100 kilometers per hour in the first, but then a construction work forces you to slow down to 40 kilometers per hour for 40 kilometers. So for the next 40, for the next 40, you're kind of at 140, and for the next 40, you're only moving at 40 kilometers. So it's going to be much steeper. 40 kilometers is probably going to look something like, let's have something like this. Something like, actually, it's going to take him 1 hour to cover that 40 kilometer distance. So 40 kilometers somewhere here, somewhere here, like that. All right. What would be the least speed needed for the rest of the trip to arrive in time for the interview? So kind of like we want to figure out, if we make a straight line from here till here, kind of like that, what is the gradient of this graph? What is the gradient? And that's the visual approach to it. But I think there's a much easier way to figure it out. You're actually you traveled for 100 kilometers. You traveled for 100 kilometers. And then you traveled for the next 40 kilometers at a slower speed. So you're left with, you've covered about 140 kilometers. That's what this is, right? And you're left with how much distance? 160 kilometers. This is 160 km. And how much time do you have? You only have 1 hour, 15 minutes. 1 hour plus 15 minutes. Right? And 1 hour. So what is your velocity going to be if you want to cover that distance in this much time? Let's figure that out. So it's a pretty easy question. The only issue is that our time is 1 hour, 15 minutes. So how do we solve for that? We can convert all of this into minutes. So we'll have to do quite a bit of work to change all the velocities to minutes as well, and then convert it back into hours. The issue is that 60 minutes is 1 hour, right? So we're kind of, that's problematic. What we can do is make up, make up a new time, or I think it's kind of like standard. So a new hour. So I want to convert this into this new hour, which is 1.25 hours, right? And that kind of makes sense because 15 minutes is quarter of an hour and 25.25 is quarter. So I want to use that. If I use this, I don't have to convert anything. And if I use this value, I'll get a very good kilometers per hour sort of value. So with that said, it's just velocity is equal to the total distance. Don't even need to say velocity. And that's what I need to travel, and I have 1.25 hours. What is the speed? I have to put my pedal to the metal and cruise at 128 kilometers per hour to reach the destination barely on time, just on time.